This is the EZshoot 1 to 10 LPVO, and I'm going to apologize right now because I'm going to mispronounce the name and call it EZshot throughout the rest of this video. Whatever you call it, EZshoot is a brand best known for making cheap budget accessories, but we're going to see if this new LPVO changes that expectation. Alright, let's start by seeing what you get in this rather plain looking box, and let's just skip ahead and see what's inside. And this is what you get inside the box. Alright, this is the EZshot 1 to 6 power by 24mm LPVO. So let's take a closer look at this. It comes with both front and rear pop-up lens caps, and let's take this out so we can take a closer look at the scope itself. This one is amber and plastic. The front is clear, and yes, it does have threading inside of the front of the tube. So if you could find an appropriately sized 24mm kill flash filter, you could potentially add it to the front of there, or any other sort of filter or attachment. It is illuminated. It has both red and green illumination with 5 brightness settings and with a 0 or off in between each of the color settings. Let's see if it has a battery inside of here. And the battery chamber is, you can access it via a coin or flathead screwdriver. Yeah, it fits a standard 2032 sized coin battery, and doesn't have one currently, but it does come with one in the box. So we'll have to drop that in there to test it out and see what the illumination looks like. Let's take a look at these turrets here. And yeah, the turrets themselves are polymer and appear to be user resettable using a coin there, so I like that. Don't have to use a specialized tool. And just eyeballing this, the 0 doesn't quite fully align to the reference dot. Maybe a little bit better on the windage, but yeah. Alright, so let's listen to this turret. Turns well. It's quite audible and tactile positive without any slop, so that's good. And let's listen to the windage. Even louder and equally tactile positive without any slop either, so that's good. Those are good signs. Alright, let's take a look at this magnification wheel. It goes from 1 to 6 in a 180-degree throw. Turns smoothly. Just a little bit of friction rubbing I can feel in the mechanism here, but it's not gritty at all. It does have a little bit of a nub there to give you some extra leverage. I wouldn't quite call it a fin, and it does not come with an additional lever, and I don't know if any aftermarket levers exactly fit this, but you could always use a thick zip tie or whatever, make your own. But this should give you plenty of leverage for turning even with gloves. Though I would have liked the magnification wheel to be just a hair thicker or wider. But yeah, this is quite usable. And our ocular fast focus, I don't know if you can hear that. There's a fair bit of audible friction, but it turns smoothly. I wouldn't say butter smooth, but still. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. And this is important because for a lot of folks who aren't used to LPVOs and they get them and they say, oh, it's not really 1 power, it's not true 1 power because the picture that lines up inside of the scope, it doesn't match the horizon line or what have you. It's because they haven't adjusted the ocular focus properly. If you've adjusted this and it still looks off, then yeah, you have a bad scope. But if you first get it out of the box and notice that everything's don't line up, just adjust this a little bit, and that usually fixes things. All right, let's just take a look at it overall. No blemishes, no noticeable gaps or ill-fitting. So yeah, this looks like a legit scope. One thing to note though, there's nothing on here that I can see that says EZshot at all. There's no branding at all. This is as generic as you can have on a scope, which causes you to think like, well, is it just an OEM scope that EZshoot just sells under their brand name? Possibly. Who knows? If you have any thoughts on that, please leave a comment. And of course, if you have any links or more details on that, yeah, let us know. We'd like to know. Anyway, the important thing is we should see how this thing works out on the range, look through the glass, and check out that reticle. And we'll do that next. Alright, we've journeyed to the Samaniego Field Sports Park Rifle Range, and while I'm getting set up here at the 50-yard benches, I'd like to ask you a quick favor. Hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell buttons right now. It just takes a second, and it's absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to this channel, but you're making a big difference because you're telling the algorithm that this is a good video that it should suggest to other folks like you. So thanks for doing that. The thing about LPVOs at 1 power is that you probably still need to adjust the fast focus or diopter, not just to make the image clear, but more importantly to make sure that the size of the objects in the scope look the same size as that outside of the scope. We did our best, but there's distortion around the outer edges and the focal plane in and outside of the scope isn't the same. While this effect isn't as noticeable with a naked eye, it's still a clear indication that this is a budget optic. Alright, let me lock down the camera to the scope so we can look through it in greater detail. And we're looking at it at its lowest power setting of 1, and we're going to zoom up to its maximum of 6. Now I've just got to wait for the camera to adjust its exposure and to refocus. There isn't this blurriness problem with your real eyes. So there we go. It's actually a pretty decent image. Alright, let me freeze frame it for a second so we can get a more detailed look. I've already noted the significant chromatic aberrations. That's the sort of color bleeding towards the edges of the black targets and at the edge of the white paper targets. That is caused by light bending through the glass. Now, what I don't see is a significant change in sharpness from center to the outer edge or distortions on the image, especially in the outer edge. So that's pretty good. Now, looking at the paper target on the bottom left, there is a shoot and see sticker target in the center, and I can make out one bullet hole just below the center bullseye, but there are additional 22 size holes on that paper, and I can't make out any of them. And forget about looking at the U.S. Air Force optical resolution chart on the right. They all look blurry. And note that on my other review videos, and you should check them out, I use the same targets, and I use as a reference these targets at 100 yards. We're looking at the targets at 50 yards, and I could maybe make out element 4 in group -2. But to be fair, it's sharp enough that I could engage either the top right or the bottom left target and feel confident that I know what I'm hitting, though it's not sharp enough, not enough resolution that I could exactly tell where my shots are landing. Alright, let's take a look at its illumination, and we're going to start with green, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I can see it with my naked eye, but I put my hand in front of the scope so you can see it more clearly. In daylight with naked eyes, you can make out the green. So let's see it in red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my hand again, so you can see, there you go. The green is much more visible in daylight, but for many, red is preferable for dusk or night vision. Alright, let me freeze frame it here and talk about LPVOs in general. And the reason why people like them is that when they're designed properly, at 1 power they're meant to function like a red dot, giving you a very clear image with fast target acquisition. And at 1 power you should be able to have both eyes open, have a panoramic view of your surroundings and any potential targets, yet also be able to quickly acquire your target in your reticle and engage it. And the design of this reticle with the center ring and just 3 simple arrows around it does help you do that, especially when illuminated. And the reticle worked as described. I found while shooting with it, I was easily able to acquire and engage my targets accurately. And of course, the accuracy shooting offhand is really up to the shooter more than the tool. So that's the EZshoot 1:6 by 24. Sure, it's no vortex, but it was a lot better than I was expecting for a budget LPVO. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment. And if you're interested in product links and more information, you can find it in my written review at moondogindustries.com. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons before this video ends. Thanks for watching. Moondog, out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.